The town of Black Hollow was once a peaceful place, nestled between rolling hills and thick forests. But beneath its quiet surface lay a corrupt underbelly controlled by Victor Graves, a ruthless businessman with ties to organized crime. Elias Cross, a bright young scholar with dreams of leaving for a better future, never imagined his life would be ripped apart in a single night. It was a cold autumn evening when fire engulfed the Cross family home. Flames licked the sky as Elias watched helplessly from a distance, his mother's screams drowned by the roaring inferno. The townspeople whispered, but no one dared to intervene. Graves had made his message clear. No one stood against him and lived to tell the tale. With his family gone and justice out of reach, Elias vanished from Black Hollow. But the town would remember his name when he returned, years later, a changed man with a single purpose: revenge. The train rumbled into Black Hollow station, its arrival unnoticed by most. Dressed in a long coat, his face shadowed by the brim of his hat, Elias stepped onto the platform. He had spent years training, physically, mentally, and tactically preparing for this moment. Every step through the familiar streets felt like stepping through a haunted memory. He had returned not as a grieving boy, but as a man with a plan. His first order of business: gathering information. Graves was still the king of Black Hollow, his empire stronger than before. But every king had a weakness, and Elias was going to find it. Victor Graves sat in his opulent office, his wealth and power displayed in every lavish detail. Years of corruption had only solidified his hold over the town. His men patrolled the streets, ensuring that fear kept people in line. But something felt off. Rumors whispered of an unknown force targeting his associates. Small disruptions in his operations, untraceable yet deliberate. A storm was brewing, and Graves was determined to snuff it out before it reached him. Elias began his mission subtly. He sabotaged one of Graves' illegal operations, making it appear as an accident. A shipment of contraband vanished, causing chaos among Graves' ranks. The crime lord's paranoia grew, his grip tightening on the town. But Elias was just getting started. Elias knew he couldn't do this alone. He sought out Daniel, a former gang member who had lost everything to Graves. Reluctantly, Daniel agreed to help, providing inside knowledge of the organization. But not everyone was on Elias's side. A supposed ally betrayed him, tipping off Graves' men. Elias barely escaped an ambush, realizing that trust was a dangerous commodity in his war. As Elias waged his silent war, innocent people suffered. Businesses were torched in retaliation, and Graves' men cracked down harder on the town. The line between hero and villain blurred in Elias' mind. Was he truly bringing justice, or just more suffering? Elias orchestrated a masterful deception, one that would lure Graves into the open. He spread false information about a deal too lucrative for Graves to ignore. Meanwhile, Detective Marion Holt, an old friend, began investigating the resurgence of violence. Holt suspected Elias's involvement but couldn't yet prove it. She had once believed in him, but now she wasn't so sure. Graves, wary but greedy, took the bait. His paranoia turned against him as trust within his own ranks crumbled. Elias had spent years learning the art of psychological warfare, and now he used it against his enemy. But Graves was no fool. He set his own trap, waiting for Elias to slip. The final piece fell into place when Marcus, Graves' right-hand man, switched sides. Whether out of self-preservation or true hatred for Graves, Marcus gave Elias the information he needed. Graves' private hideout. The fortress where he believed himself untouchable. With one last war to wage, Elias prepared for the endgame. A brutal firefight erupted at the estate. Graves's empire collapsed in gunfire and blood. Elias faced Graves at last, years of pain and fury culminating in this moment. Graves, cornered and defeated, sneered. "Go on, finish it. Prove that you're just like me." Elias hesitated. He had spent years dreaming of this moment, but now, standing over the man who had destroyed his life, he questioned whether revenge would ever truly satisfy him. Detective Holt arrived, gun drawn. "It's over, Elias. Let the law handle this." A part of him wanted to pull the trigger, but another part, buried deep beneath the years of anger, remembered who he used to be. Elias lowered his weapon. Holt arrested Graves, ensuring he would spend the rest of his life behind bars. But Elias knew the scars of revenge never truly healed. Black Hollow began to rebuild, free from Graves' grip. Elias, however, could not stay. He had won the war, but at what cost? As he walked away from the town that had shaped him, he understood. Revenge was a cycle, but justice was a choice. His war was over, but its echoes would remain forever.